Breadcrumb theology. Why the ego can't stop exposing itself. The ego believes it has a clever problem. It wants more without being seen. More money, more security, more identity, more proof that it exists and matters. And yet it wants less visibility, less exposure, less accountability, less consequence. That contradiction is not accidental. It is the ego's core dilemma. Every attempt to get more is an attempt to confirm separation, and separation by definition requires a trail. The story appears to be a crime story. Traveling bodies, banks, license plates removed, phones pinging towers, breadcrumbs patiently collected over a year and a half. But the real crime was not the theft of a Louis Vuitton purse, a bank bag, or an engagement ring. Those were props. The crime was the belief that taking could complete something. The ego does not steal because it lacks objects. It steals because it lacks rest. A little more is never about the thing. It is about postponing the moment where the ego would have to admit that nothing here will ever be enough. A Course in Miracles makes this explicit. The ego is built on lack. Lack demands motion. Motion demands patterns. Patterns demand visibility. That is the trap. Law enforcement calls them breadcrumbs. A Course in Miracles calls them effects. Breadcrumbs are not left because of carelessness. They are left because movement cannot be private. The ego imagines secrecy is about hiding form, but secrecy fails because intention radiates. Phones ping towers because minds ping meaning. Vehicles repeat routes because desire repeats itself. Crimes repeat because the thought behind them was never questioned. No private thoughts is not poetry. It is forensic. The mind chooses first. The body follows. The world records. Every attempt to disappear while taking more only sharpens the outline. Notice how value is always named. Not a purse, but a Louis Vuitton purse. Not a bag, but a bank bag. Not a ring, but an engagement ring. The ego never steals neutral objects. It steals symbols. Value is the ego's oxygen. Security is its religion. Specialness is its language. Grass would not do. Symbols are required. Because the ego is not trying to survive, it is trying to mean something. And meaning, once chased, must be defended. Defense creates strategy. Strategy creates repetition. Repetition creates data. Breadcrumbs again. The ego believes exposure is the danger, so it works harder to hide. It removes plates. It crosses borders. It uses technology while fearing technology. But exposure is not the threat. Exposure is the revelation. A Course in Miracles teaches that what is hidden must first be hidden from oneself. That effort requires energy. Energy requires motion. Motion leaves traces. The ego cannot stop, because stopping would require seeing the thought it is running from. So it accelerates. This was never the first rodeo, and it would never have been the last. Because consequences do not cure the ego. Only insight does. The ego does not learn from being caught. It only learns new routes. That is why the chase appears endless. Not because law enforcement persists, but because the belief in separation persists. The Course calls this the madness of seeking salvation where it cannot be found. Here is the ending the ego cannot imagine. The moment nothing needs to be taken, nothing needs to be hidden. No movement, no pattern, no trail. Enough is not a quantity. It is a recognition. And recognition does not leave breadcrumbs, because it does not go anywhere. That is why the ego cannot stop, and why, eventually, it always exposes itself. Not because it is foolish, but because separation cannot be sustained without revealing its cost.